G'day everyone, my name is Dallas. I'm one of the enrollment advisors here at Coder Academy. We'll just wait a few moments for a few more people to roll in before we kick off. Hope everyone's doing well. Feel free to say g'day in the chat so we can make sure that you can hear us. Okie dokie, let's get it underway. Once again, my name's Dallas. I'm one of the enrollment advisors here at Coder Academy, and tonight we're going to have a bit of a chat about the courses we have available, primarily the coding bootcamp starting in March, and also the part-time diploma of IT starting in January. So, where coders are made. So, in the spirit of reconciliation, Coder Academy acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We pay our respect to the elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today. Who are we? This is me, and that's Tom. Tom's also here. He's going to be on chat. I'll just bring Tom on real quick for a little introduction.
Hello.
Um, Welcome.
Hi guys, my name's Tom, and yeah, I'm just like Dallas. I'm another enrollment advisor. So, guys, if you have any questions in regards to anything Coder Academy wise, feel free to just take a photo of our little contact details on there. Just feel free to message us or maybe email us. But yeah, other than that though, just a bit of housekeeping before I hand it back to Dallas essentially. So for any questions that you may have tonight, just could everyone just check your chat right now, and if you will see the little two button, could everyone just select everyone? That way we can all see that your questions and we can capture them, and we'll answer all of your questions at the end of this session. But other than that though, I hope you guys are excited and make sure that sit tight and just have a blast. I'll hand it back over to you, Dallas.
Cheers. Thank you so much, Tom. So yeah, also if someone could throw a hello into chat, that'd be fantastic, just to make sure, because I'm not seeing any messages apart from the ones from Tom. So we just want to make sure that you guys can actually chat in the chat. Thank you so much, Barbara, Liam, David. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so who employs full stack developers? IT companies, retail, financial institutions, digital agencies, pretty much everyone. So full stack development is one of the more sought after developer roles in the industry. As you can imagine, as a full stack developer, there's going to be plenty of roles available in IT companies, being an IT role. But there's also a lot of jobs available in other areas. Retail is a big one because if you think about it, most retailers these days have an online, presence, like a website or a web portal where you can buy things. And the people that are, creating and maintaining these things are full stack web developers. So there's plenty of roles there too. Financial institutions is a big one. Pretty much everyone uses them day to day. I'm talking about like banking applications and banking web services. So full stack developers are the ones that are going to be in charge of those sort of things as well. And then I say digital agencies, I'm kind of just like, it's a pretty broad term, but a lot of people, a lot of devs behind the scenes doing a bit of data analysis stuff. Devs in marketing teams, that sort of thing as well. So there's a lot of devs out there doing a lot of things. So full stack web development is pretty broad. You can find plenty of work out there. The average salary for a full stack dev is 120K. Now that's the average. All right. So your starting salary, you're probably looking at more like $75,000, $80,000 a year, which isn't too bad for completing a course in say 10 months with us, or maybe the 2 year course. The money's not too bad straight out of the gates. There's 30% job growth within the next 5 year. And look, gain in demand skills. You probably heard it from me before, but essentially After completion of a boot camp with us, you'll be considered a junior full stack web developer, proficient in front end development and back end development, and you'll be able to build complex websites, databases, and web based applications and more as well. Basically, full stack development is the most sought after developer role in the industry. You can wear many hats. It's pretty much the jack of all sort of trades as far as like coding goes. It's a really good spot to sort of like get into to make some decent coin before you even start specializing in something else. If you want to get into a different area of tech, this is a perfect, sort of entry point to give you all of that base knowledge before you move into the deeper realm of it. So who's our bootcamp ideal for? Also everyone. So career changes, upskillers, and an alternative to uni. So people who are looking to change career, excuse me, generally, a lot of them have already previously studied. They could be, 10 years into a career and now they're looking to pivot. They don't necessarily want to go back and do 3 years at uni. They don't want to do extensive, study. They don't want to have to leave their job to study either. So our boot camps are perfect for those people. We do teach everything from the ground up, so no prior coding knowledge is actually needed to come on board for a course with us. Just a passion to learn and basic understanding of a computer and how to use it. How to use your web browser like Google Chrome, that sort of stuff. Pretty simple. So yeah, career changes, it's perfect for them. Upskillers, we actually have quite a few people come on board that are already in the tech industry as developers, but have sort of been sitting in a role for a long time. Maybe they've been working on legacy code and they're not up to date with like newer languages being used. We get upskillers coming on board for our boot camps too, to sort of like brush up on the basics and also learn, some of the newer coding languages to future-proof themselves or give themselves a bit of a foot up in a job that they already have. And like I mentioned before, an alternative to uni. Ideally, if people want to fast track their career into the tech industry, our boot camps are perfect. You don't have to go and do a 3-year degree. Also, we have industry placement that occurs at the end of our courses. And yeah, so it's just it's perfect, really. Not to mention the fact that our courses are accredited, right? So because we're an accredited course, you receive a higher education diploma of web development at the end. And a lot of the subjects, because they're higher education subjects, it means that you can get credit if you move on to uni afterwards. Yeah. So here is a bunch of information. But basically, the Web Dev Bootcamp is our March intake. It was February, but we've moved it to March. And the part-time delivery, which is coming up very soon on the 20th of January. So we'll move through the we'll move through the part-time delivery first because that one's sooner. Starts on the 20th of January. Okay, it's a 2-year course. There is a 4-week optional industry placement that occurs at the end of the course. We could talk more about that soon. It's delivered 100% virtually. So basically, it means that you don't ever have to come into a campus, that we do have campuses in Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne. Live classes will be on Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So only 4 hours of live classes that you need to attend, and they do fall outside of business hours. So it's perfect for someone who is working a full-time job. And then there's 10 hours of recommended self-study per week as well. So in total, you've got 14 hours that you need to throw at the course itself in order to do well. There is academic support available online via Discord. So each cohort of the course gets their own Discord channel where you can have a chat with your peers and also have a chat with educators and get support from support staff. And like I said before, it's a higher education diploma of web development. The price is just over $22,000. And also because we are accredited, because it's a nationally recognized course, students who are eligible have, the fee help student loan available to them as well. And now onto the Web Dev Bootcamp, which is the 10-month version. Essentially, it's the same course, guys. It's the same course. It's just one goes for 2 years, one goes for 10 months. Also has the 4-week optional industry placement and is delivered 100% virtual. The live classes are a little bit different. Monday and Wednesday, or Tuesday and Thursday, It's set. You don't get to choose those. It just basically bounces. It's just slightly different each intake. So it's going to be 7 p.m. to 9, just like the part-time. But there's also a Saturday class. There's an additional class Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. So it's 8 hours total of live classes. And then there's 23 hours of recommended self-study. So this one is a bigger study load, okay, over the 10 months. It's more intense. People have actually completed this course with a full-time job as well. But if you decide to get in that path, you need to be dedicated to it. You need to have really good time management. You need to set expectations, knowing that you're not going to be doing too much outside of work and study for that 10 months. And also, you need to prepare yourself if you decide that, you're maybe not able to put as much effort in as you think. You need to be willing to drop down, the hours that you're currently working in order to, continue the course. So these are the sort of things you really need to consider for the 10-month course. It is a more intense version. And then once again, we've got campuses available in Brisbane City and Melbourne. We actually have on-campus support for the 10-month boot camp. And that's on Mondays and Fridays, I believe. There'll be an educator there on campus that you can have a chat to and get face-to-face support. But also you have the Discord support as well, which is generally pretty quick within the hours of Monday to Saturday, 9 to 5. So there's always someone you can have a chat to, except for Sunday. That's our day of rest. Once again, higher education diploma of web development. The price is the same, just over $22,000. And you have the Fee Help government loan available to you as well. Also, both of these courses do have an easy debit monthly installment plan available if you decide to not go down the government loan path, or you aren't eligible for it. And so the 10-month boot camp is basically broken down into 10 installments. And then the part-time boot camp, which is 2 years, is broken down into 24 installments. Here's just a different visual guide for that web dev boot camp. So this is the 10-month one. As you can see there's the live classes in green, and then the yellow, or the sort of like creamy color, is the support available. Okay. And then this one is the part-time weekly timetable. Once again, green is the live classes. The yellow is the support on the support time. Bootcamp breakdown. So you'll be learning a lot more than this. Honestly, there is so much packed into these courses. But these are sort of the highlights, so to speak. In term one, you'll be touching on HTML and CSS. Also, before I really get into it, if you don't understand a lot of this terminology, it's totally fine. Like I said, we teach everything from the ground up, so no previous experience is needed. But yeah, HTML and CSS to start with, you'll be building a web-based portfolio, so a website that's about you professionally, as probably, I think, the first assessment. And then from there, you'll be basically, every assessment from there on, you'll be able to feed into your web-based portfolio. By the end of the boot camp, you should have a pretty fleshed out website about you professionally that you can then go ahead and showcase potential employers. So you'll also be doing some Python programming. You'll be building a terminal application, some Python with Flask. Flask being the framework that goes along with Python language. And then you'll be moving on to some JavaScript, some deployment, React being the framework that goes along with JavaScript. You'll be building a full stack web application for a client. You'll be touching on DevOps fundamentals and AWS as well, talking about AWS and how that works. And you'll be playing with Docker, which is really cool too. And then, yeah, you move on after that. Optional industry placement occurs. So basically, with industry placement, in order to be eligible for industry placement, you need to have a first-time pass rate on your assessments, preferably a credit pass. Okay, you need to have good attendance record, so turn up to your live classes, and you need to have good communication skills, so good soft skills, be able to conduct yourself in an interview situation. That's all that we ask for you to be eligible for our industry placement program. And then basically our partnerships team, who you'll be speaking to pretty early on in the course, They will, get details from you, things like a copy of your web-based portfolio that you've built, things like GitHub, links to that, maybe some links to your social media accounts, things that are basically promoting you professionally as a developer, and then they'll basically push those out to multiple partnering companies that they think would best suit you. And then from there, people will get contacted for interviews, and then you'll get offered an industry placement. Maybe you might even get offered more than one. But that's just how it works. It's pretty cool. So, Coder Academy courses. Here's basically what we're offering at the moment. So you've got the Web Development Bootcamp, which is the 10-month one in March. You've got the Diploma of Web Development, which is the part-time version, starting on the 20th of January. And then you've got two vocational diplomas. One is focusing on cybersecurity and one is focusing on AI. Okay. And they're starting on the 27th of January. So those are options that are also available. You can find out more information on our website about those ones, or you can reach out to me. Up to you. And then we also have a data science bootcamp, which is coming soon. I can't talk too much about the data science bootcamp just yet, as we don't have a lot of information that we can release to the public. But that's going to be really cool as well. So what I can say is basically after completion of the data science bootcamp, you'll be considered, a junior data scientist. And like long story cut real short, I would basically you've heard of data analysts, okay? Data scientist has a team of data analysts under them. That's the best way to describe what a data scientist is. They work. It's a slightly different role, but we'll talk more about that when we have more to talk about it. So this is just a slide that sort of showcases a handful of companies that our grads work at, and also some of our students get placed in their industry placement. As you can see there, it is a good mix. There's probably a few companies there that are bigger and you definitely know of. Then there could be some more medium-sized companies and smaller ones that maybe you aren't familiar with. So what we do is, our partnerships team sort of handpicks companies of all shapes and sizes so that we can cater to all sorts of students. Some people want to work for a really big company and just be a sort of a cog in the machine or a fly on the wall and just sort of see how things work in these big tech companies. And we can definitely provide that sort of thing with some of these bigger companies. In the smaller companies or the medium-sized ones, maybe there's some students that really want to get their hands dirty, jump in, and they want to play around and wear many hats, okay? Because in smaller tech companies, they don't have the budget to sort of hire, specialized developers. A lot of people end up working on different areas, of projects that maybe they're not super comfortable with, or it's not something that they're really good at. And so it's just a good way to sort of just jump into the pan and sort of, get a feel for everything. Arjeen here. So she was a cheerleader and now she's a developer. I came from the cheerleading industry with minimal tech skills. My fantastic teacher helped me land my career flip on my feet. Coder Academy gave me the best of both worlds with scheduled online classes, cutting out commute stress while giving an interactive and connected environment with my peers. I'm now working full-time as a developer and have no doubt that the solid foundation from Coder Academy is a big component in my success. Fantastic. Christopher here, from retail sales to software developer at Entain. Before joining Coder, I worked in retail sales where I developed a strong customer-centric approach. My experience at Coder provided a solid foundation in software development practices, widely used in the industry, and now I'm a software developer at Entain. And then we've got Reese here. He came from hospitality, and now he is a full-stack web developer. Transitioning from 12 years in hospitality industry, becoming a full-stack web developer was a bold step into a completely different world. Coder Academy provides the practical experience and in-depth knowledge I needed to successfully launch my new career, which landed me with a full-time position with an exciting company. I have grown both personally and professionally. Fantastic. So that's just a bit of a taste for a few people who have come and gone. So we've got this diversity in tech scholarship. Just have a quick chat about this one. Super brief. Basically, there's one scholarship per intake available or per cohort. It gives you 50% off of the course fees and it's open to domestic students. This one is only available for the 10-month bootcamp. Okay. So the 10-month bootcamp in March. If you were to go ahead and apply for the course, shortly after you would receive an email that allows you to then go ahead and apply for the Diversity in Tech Scholarship if you're eligible for it. And yeah, look, you got nothing to lose, so why not? Also, a Diversity in Tech Scholarship, all you really need to do is to showcase your diversity. And diversity can mean so many things. So anyone can go for it, really. Application process, it's super, super simple. You can apply on the website. There is a button that says apply. You can go ahead and apply there. It's a super easy application form to complete. And then, basically we'll have a chat and then send out an enrollment form, which is a DocuSign letter of offer. Quite simple. And you go ahead and complete that one. And also a question that always comes up is the Fee Help Government loan. That's actually tied in with our enrollment process. So you don't have to go and do anything externally. We prompt you the whole way and send you links to things and sort of like guide you. So it's quite an easy application process because I understand there are some institutes out there that have pretty convoluted sort of application and enrollment processes, but ours is quite simple. So if you're ready to rock and roll, it's there and we're waiting for you. Feel free to join the next info session. I don't have much to say on it just yet. We're waiting on a few things to basically go ahead and push that forward. But that is the QR link if you want to go ahead and sign up for the next one. They're always pretty exciting, and I've got some fun stuff to say, and you get to see me. So yeah, go ahead and sign up for that one if you're keen for another one. And this is me and Tom, just two good-looking roosters in cartoon form. That's our details. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any further questions that maybe you don't feel like asking here in the chat right now. But look, we absolutely encourage you to go ahead and ask questions because we're an open book and we love to talk. So that brings us to the questions actually slide. Tom, if you'd like to come back on.
Yo, 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 I'm back.
Good evening. Yeah, so do we have any questions at all?
There we go. We
There
have
we
a
go.
question here from Erlen Williams. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. Hi, I'm just wondering if there is support for people on the spectrum, as I'm interested in doing the AI course. So I think, Dallas, you may have a bit more information regarding this.
Sure. Sorry, I turned my video off. I don't know why. It was an accident. So
No stress at all.
basically, yeah, we do have support available for students on the spectrum. Obviously, the spectrum is large. There's different sort of varying levels. But we sort of tailor our support. Our support essentially is case by case. Okay, that's the best way to describe it. So more support depending on whether it's needed. As far as the AI course goes, though, that is our vocational diploma. Now, the vocational diplomas, for the most part, are quite hands off from us. Okay, they are apart from set assessment like dates and times that assessments need to be handed in. The rest of the course is basically go at your own pace. Okay, so we don't actually offer a lot of support for the vocational diplomas. You just go at your own pace. You can definitely reach out to educators. There will be support channels available, but what support we have available for someone on the spectrum. I'm unsure of at this moment. That's something that needs to be sort of discussed with the student services team after you've gone ahead and applied for the course. So feel free to do so or reach out to me, outside of this webinar, and we can talk more.
Awesome. Hopefully that answers your question, Erland. So we've got another question here from Liam Dallas. What type of equipment do you need to complete this course? Is there a certain level of computer power needed or a laptop/computer grade needed to complete this course? So technical requirements, essentially.
Yeah, look, honestly, you don't need much because you're not really using your computer or your laptop as a server, so to speak. So you don't need anything too crazy. It doesn't take a lot of firepower to actually be a coder or develop. But what we do ask is whatever you get, it's probably going to be something that's 2020 or newer. It's going to have at least 16 gig of RAM. And I think that's probably about it. We do require a webcam and a mic as well. So make sure that your laptop has that. And a laptop is probably recommended over a desktop because you could be moving around. A lot of people, a lot of companies do hot desking and that sort of stuff, and they'll move around with a laptop. So you just kind of get used to like using a laptop because you never know. You could end up having to go and work somewhere, you know, in an office. But yeah, laptop is just definitely recommended. Hopefully that answers the question. Also, sorry, actually, I
Mm,
completely skipped OS. Yeah, so look, you can use if you're more Windows, then go with Windows. If you prefer Apple, then go with Mac OS. Either or is totally fine. Our educators obviously know all about both. And so they're going to be able to provide, the best support they possibly can for either of those. But honestly, there is no better choice. They both have their pros and they both have their cons. So just choose. What I say is choose the operating system that you're used to. The last thing you want to do is come into a course like this where it's a lot of information being thrown at you,
mm.
and you're also trying to figure out how to use an OS because you thought you heard that was the better one. Okay, so just
Mm.
go with the one you're accustomed to.
100%. So if we were to put it in short, first and foremost, get a laptop. Why? Because it's a bit more mobile. You're going to be moving around a lot. Number two, when it comes down to operating system, use whatever you prefer. And then of the day, it's about being comfortable with what you use and learning from there. And number three was 16 gigs of RAM. Is that correct?
Yeah, 16 gig of
Yeah,
RAM. Yeah.
beautiful then. Hopefully that answers your question, Liam. So next up we have David. How does it work with fee help? And are there census dates or any kind of pre-work before applying the course?
Yeah, sure. That's a good question, actually. I was going to talk about fee help a bit more, whether anyone asked the question or not. Fee help, okay, is a great government loan that's available. There's a few important things to understand with fee help. That government loan, in order to be eligible for it, you need to be an Australian citizen or a New Zealand special category visa holder. Okay, there are a few other niche sort of situations that you might be eligible for it as well outside of those things, but they're quite niche, and you'll find it on the website if you look up on the Study Assist website. But basically, there is also a 20% fixed interest that is attached to fee help, okay, which is quite important. So essentially, the course cost for us is $22,250, okay? So that's deferrable with fee help, government loan. And you got to think about there's going to be a 20% interest on top of that. So 20% on top
Mm.
is also going to be hit. So that basically 20% that goes to the government. We don't really have any say in that, unfortunately, but that's basically the government's take. But that amount is also deferrable. So there is no upfront cost at all, and the amount that you pay back is dependent on how much you earn. I believe it's anything you will start paying it back if you're earning more than about $47,000 a year.
Mm.
And depending on how much more you earn, depends on how much comes out. The way you pay a fee help government loan back is the same way that tax comes out of your pay. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. It's just going to come out. The accounts team for your company will be working on that sort of thing, and obviously you can pay more on top if you want to pay more.
Mm.
Hopefully that helps with that. As far as census state goes, yes, there are census states. So every course that is accredited, every nationally recognized course has census dates, and ours is no different. So we have census dates that occur, and this is whether you're paying using a fee help government loan or whether you're paying out of pocket, or like, so either way. You can withdraw prior to a census date, okay, and have no financial penalty. That is definitely something
Mm.
that's available. So if you decide all of a sudden and you backpedal and realize this is not for you, then yeah, you can go ahead and withdraw with no financial penalty before the census date, provided you reach out to the student services team and you
Mm.
complete the appropriate paperwork in a timely fashion. Okay. So yeah, that's definitely available to people as well. But we hope that having chats with people like us and attending webinars, we hope that we are transparent enough and you ask the right questions to know what you're getting into with these boot camps, these sort of courses. So if you come on board, we would love for you to stick around.
No, awesome as Dallas. I think that was a very thorough answer. And I think you mentioned about the course being nationally accredited. Could you dive a bit more into that by any chance? Because I feel like that's something that's really important that I think our viewers would love to know a bit more about.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, basically being nationally recognized or accredited, it means that our courses are approved by a body like TEXAR. TEXAR is the body, the approving body that actually does approve our courses. Ultimately, what it means is it's a higher education course. So basically, the subjects that we deliver in our courses or in the boot camp and also the part-time diploma of IT, in these courses, they are university subjects. Okay, they're university level subjects. So completing a course with us means that you can get credit to when if you decide to move on to university. Let's say because you want to maybe study something a little bit more specialized in the tech industry. You
Mm.
potentially could get credit for subjects you've completed with us and get a little bit of time and money off of that next course. But in saying that, our boot camps are built for you to dive directly into the industry, so you don't have to continue studying after you study with us.
Awesome sauce. So next question here is from Nadine, and they're asking, hey, in one of your slides, you mentioned working on a client project. Could you touch on that further? If you can, Atlas.
Yeah, can, not a problem. So basically, the final assessment that you complete in the boot camp and also the part-time diploma is a full stack application. So you will pretty much get a real client or real person, real company will be assigned to you, and then from there you'll be put into small teams, and as a small team, you have to basically build a full stack application for a real client as your final assessment. It's a big one, but it's pretty cool because you're pretty much using all of the knowledge that you've sort of built up along the way in the course. You're putting it all into one project, and that's going to be your final assessment. So yeah, and it's another really big cool thing to showcase in
Mm.
your web-based portfolio. Yeah.
Yeah, and to touch on that as well, like there's a lot of soft skills that are really emphasized within that last project as well. And you will have a few opportunities to actually present it to your teachers, and they can actually provide you with a bit of industry perspective as well, and giving you that kind of insight that you will probably lack when it comes down to like studying these other courses that maybe some other providers, but for the most part. So yeah, moving on as well, we have another question from Liam again. Is this boot camp course achievable while working full time, Dallas?
Cool. So I did touch on this earlier. But yeah, ultimately, the 10-month boot camp, if you decide to tackle that with a full-time job, it's going to be a lot. Okay. So you really have to have all your ducks in a row if you're going to decide to do that. There are people that have completed the boot camp, the 10-month course, with a full-time job. You'll be doing for 10 months, nearly nothing but working and studying. Okay. You're not going to have a lot of time to do much else outside of that. So if you have other priorities in your life outside of those things, then you need to make sure that it's for you. Yeah. So it is 8 hours of live classes that need to be attended. Okay. Those live classes do fall outside of business hours. So you can work a full time job there. But you have to consider the 23 hours of recommended self study. Okay. There's going to be some weeks where you don't have to spend 23 hours of self study, but then there's going to be some weeks, i.e., when we're, talking about doing full stack web applications for a real client as our major assessment at the end, you could be putting in a lot more than 23 hours per week. Okay. You just really need to consider these things. So the 10-month boot camp, while it can be done with a full time job, there's a reason why that 2-year part-time diploma of web development exists. Okay, it's the
Mm.
same course with the same outcomes. It's just delivered over a longer period so that people can comfortably work a full-time job and study at the same time.
Awesome. Yeah. With that in mind, talking about jobs, Dallas, because I feel like a lot of people do kind of go into into our boot camp looking to find employment. Could you give a bit more insight into more specific roles that they could be looking at in terms of after graduating the boot camp,
Yep.
essentially?
Yeah, sure. So there's a lot of different roles you can sort of like move into. Primarily full stack web development. That's going to be the big one. That's what you're aiming for. Okay. You can move into a front end development role if that's what you want. Making things look really pretty all the time, and and then maybe focusing more on sort of UX and UI. If you happen to come from a graphic design background, then you can sort of
Mm,
use that and just sort of move into more front end development stuff. Okay. Or you might find that you really like back end development a lot, working in databases, sort of making things work behind the scenes, so to speak, making sure web forms are working correctly, that sort of stuff. A lot of back end development goes into things like web-based portals where people are selling items. A good example would be something like eBay, where people can buy
mm,
and sell. There's a two-way street there. There's a lot of different things happening, intricate work happening in the back end. That might sound super, super scary, but a bit of a side note, a lot of people come on board for this course and go, I'm going to just sort of like, I'll do the course and I'll work on all the things. I will be considered a back-end developer by the end of it. But
mm,
when it comes down to it, I'm going to focus on front-end development because it seems easier and it seems something that, I'm going to be able to achieve. And I totally get that, right? Because it does seem easier because you can visualize it now.
mm.
It's easier to visualize, all right? But there are so many people that come into these courses, and by the end of it, they are like, you know what? I'm all back end, baby. I love back end development so much more, and they actually find it so much more rewarding and really get into it. It's just, yeah, you never know until you're really into it. But so yeah, so you can work on front end specifically. You can get into back end developer roles as well. There's probably going to be, there's decent money in front end, there's better money in back end, but the best money's in full stack. All right. So
Mm.
basically being able to do both. Um, and then, so there's also roles that you can get into, like sort of, it's just slipped my mind. Um, I'll come back to that one. There was a role that I had and it's gone. You can get into stuff like basically support engineering. Okay, support engineering
Mm.
is a good one as well. An example I'll give is if you call Apple because your phone is not working properly, you might speak to someone who is a tier one support. Okay,
Mm.
they're tier one support, and then if they can't fix the problem, you will basically get escalated to someone who is tier two. Okay, and then beyond tier two, there is a level called engineering, okay, in Apple.
Mm.
And engineering is essentially support developers. So you're a support engineer. You don't actually have to, speak to anyone unless you desperately want to in those sort of roles. But basically, you're the developer that helps someone out because, maybe their Mac is not working properly, and it's not because of something that rolled out a new update. It's something specialized, and you actually get to go in and figure out exactly what's going on, and you basically code it better. You will make it better with code. So that's pretty cool. A lot of people that I know that are developers that get into those sort of support engineer roles, they really love it because they find it super rewarding. Basically going in and investigating and finding out what's wrong with something, and then putting a piece of code in to make it better. Yeah. So that's just a few options that are available. Oh, testing. Testing was the other thing I was going to bring
Testing.
up. Yeah, that was the one I was trying to think of before. I don't know how I forgot that word. But basically, testing is an option as well. You can get into testing as a developer. Basically, it's just going in and working for a software company and testing products before they're launched on projects, or you could be testing updates before they actually come out. These sort of things. So that's also a big sort of, I guess, well-paying area of tech as well. That's just a
Mm.
few things. That's a few things.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And it's kind of awesome to know that like there are so many options that are available for you. And that's just the nature of what you're learning in terms of how flexible full stack actually is when it comes down to industry, eh, Dallas?
For sure, for sure.
Beautiful. So yeah, we had a question here from Miko. Can we pay the fees monthly?
Yes, yes, you can. So basically, there's a thing called Easy Debit. We use Easy Debit. and you can get an easy debit payment plan for our 10-month bootcamp and one for our 2-year course, and they are monthly installments. So essentially, both of those courses cost the same amount, $22,250. And depending on which course you choose, depends on how much those monthly installments are going to be. So the 10-month boot camp, okay, those easy debit payment plans are broken down over 10 months. The first installment will be prior to the boot camp starting as your security deposit, and then the other 9 payments will be month on month until the course is finished. Now, with the part-time Diploma of Web Development being a 2-year course, basically it's a 24-month payment plan. Okay, once again, the first payment is before the course starts as the security deposit, and then the other 23 payments will occur month on month until the course is finished as well.
Awesome.
Hopefully that made
answers it.
sense.
Hopefully that answers your question, Miko. If
Yeah.
you needed a bit more clarification, just raise your hand again and let us know, okay? So we have another question here from Gracie. I'm so sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Is there a program for women as well? Please correct me if I'm wrong.
So we do have the Women in STEM cadetship, which is probably what you're referring to. Okay, the Women in STEM cadetship is actually like it's a government incentive, okay, that applies to our part-time Diploma of Web Development. So it actually is that course. So the part-time Diploma of Web Development, essentially in the 2-year course, it has a thing called Women in STEM cadetship. That cadetship, without going into too much detail, you can essentially get the entire course paid for you, by the government and also your employer. The reason why I haven't brought it up is because the cadetship is full. We have placed all the people. So there was only 10 spots that were given to us by the government for the cadetship, and that filled up late last year. And so now anyone who was to apply for the Women in STEM cadetship will just basically go onto a wait list where you could sit there until the government potentially offers us more Women in STEM spots. But in previous years, when we have had these sort of incentives, we don't even know. That the government doesn't give us any sort of indication as to when or if they will ever give us more. So you could be sitting in limbo for a long time. So basically what happens is anyone who comes into the Women in STEM cadetship goes onto that wait list, and then we advise whether they just want to move into the part-time Diploma of IT enrollment process as per usual and just pay out of pocket. So yeah, that's why I haven't brought up that one.
Easy. And another question here again from Liam, which is a pretty good question, I feel. If you do the 10-month boot camp and it becomes very difficult with life situations, can you change to part-time?
Sure, good question. Yes, you can. Yes, you can change to part-time. You can definitely do that. It's not a problem. You just need to speak to student services. The best time to change is generally at the end of term. Okay, you can't just randomly jump out at any spot. There's definitely certain spots that are more ideal than others, but student services will be able to discuss that with you. One thing I will advise though is we don't like we don't deliver our courses at certain dates to make that easy. Okay, we don't do it to make it hard, but all I'm saying is the courses don't always line up properly. So you might find that at whatever spot you decide to jump out of, say, the 10-month bootcamp because it's too intense, you may need to wait months for the part-time, the latest part-time intake, the part-time Diploma of Web Development, that cohort, to catch up to where you actually are up to, for you to then dive into that course at the spot you left the 10-month course. Okay, so absolutely doable. If you need to do it, definitely. The last thing we want is for you to just go, this is too hard, and just like bail on the situation, because that's not going to help you with your career, and we don't want to waste your time. So yeah, definitely let us know if you decide to jump on board with the part time, but it just may not line up as well as you'd like it to.
Hmm.
Cool.
Awesome. So this is actually a follow-up question to the women in STEM question before.
Mm-hmm.
Is the women in STEM incentive only given to Australian national? Question mark. if that makes
It's open to international students as well, actually. Um, it just really comes down to there's a few factors that you need to be taken into consideration. Um, Obviously, you need to be full-time employed, and you also need to have your employer sign off on it as well. But long story cut short, yes, it's open to international students as well. You don't have to just be an Australian domestic student.
awesome. So another question here again from Erlen. So the vet course, if it doesn't suit him for a few weeks, can he drop out and does he have to pay the rest of the fee? So mainly a census question, I'd say.
Yeah. Look, maybe get back to me, Erlen. We can have a chat outside of this. I don't remember the census dates for that, but yeah, look, I believe there is a census date for our vocational um, uh, diplomas of IT. So yes,
Hmm.
there is a census date, and if you defer prior to the census date, then yeah, you can definitely get your money back. So yeah, that's an option. Um, Trying to
Yep.
think. No, I'm not gonna say anything because I'll probably say the wrong thing. But yeah, it definitely is a census date. I just don't know when it is off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, no stress at all. No stress at all. Maybe you can Erlen can just reach out to Dallas. If you can put back to the slide with your number and your email,
Yeah.
you can Dallas. Yeah, so Erlen, if you want, you can just flick through an email to Dallas and he'll get back to you in an email or maybe a call with your answer to your question there. No stress at all. So moving on to the next question here. So back to Miko again. Can we do monthly payments for the 2-year full stack? I'm pretty sure Dallas, you said that was correct. You could.
100%. You definitely can.
100%. Beautiful. And another question here from Nadine again. Is there any prep work before starting the boot camp?
So, yeah, like I said, we teach everything from the ground up, so you don't need to have any prior experience before coming on board. We do release a thing called pre-work. Okay, the pre-work generally comes out, let's say, between 1 and 2 weeks before the start date of the boot camp or before the start date of the part-time diploma of web development. And there's just a few things in there, for you to sort of get stuck into and start to get a bit of a taste, a bit of a feel for things. But in saying that, if you are hungry to sort of like start playing around with some code, getting your hands dirty, before that, I recommend to just check out codecademy.com. Just as a off the top of my head, a place to go and have a bit of a play with some HTML, some CSS, and some Python. The reason why I mentioned those ones first is because HTML and CSS are going to be the first things you touch when you come into the bootcamp with us, and Python is going to be the first object-oriented language that you'll be playing with
Hmm.
as well. So I recommend just having a bit of a play with those things. If you haven't touched any code and you're keen to have a taste, do that. Go to codeacademy.com and play with those things. The one thing I will say about going out and playing with code before the course, um, don't don't feel the need to go and taste every language. Okay,
Hmm.
you're just going to confuse yourself. So you just want to stick with a couple to start with. A lot of people will go, I'm going to go and learn JavaScript. You don't need to. We'll teach you that. And there's a reason why we deliver Python first. Okay. Python's almost like it's an object oriented language with training wheels. Okay. And JavaScript is the big boy that everyone uses in the industry.
Hmm.
We teach Python first for a reason. It really does help in the long run. And also, it's a part of a different stack, so it means that we deliver multiple stacks to you in education.
Hmm.
That's one thing. I've gone on a bit of a rant here, but that is one thing that is really really cool. Basically, we deliver multiple stacks, in the boot camp. That you have to basically you learn a stack and then you'll move to a second stack, and you'll have to basically jump between those two stacks. And if you can jump between those two stacks in the course and thrive, which you will be able to. It just helps when it comes to the industry because when you get out there into the big bad world to become a developer, you're not always going to, you know, go to a place of work that uses the identical stack that you learnt in a Coder Academy bootcamp. You know, and that's okay though. A lot of people don't use the exact same stack at every job. But the fact that you have actually learnt two stacks in a course and you've jumped between the two, it means that you can easily transition to a third stack. Okay.
Hmm.
When it comes down to it, all of these, we do all these things for a reason. It's to help you thrive when you do hit the ground running in the industry.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. And kind of tying into that pre-work, Miko has a question here. What are some of the basic skills that are needed to start learning full stack essentially? And what programs and whether this program starts from the ground up essentially, from a beginner level?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, absolutely. I'm pretty sure I've said it a bunch of times. But basically, we teach everything from the ground up. All right. So there's no prior knowledge needed to come on board for one of our boot camps, one of our higher education diplomas. And yeah, once you walk out the door, you will walk out the door as a junior full stack web developer. Okay. So, um, yeah, you don't need anything. This is a beginner level. All you need is a passion to learn and the ability to navigate, the basics of a computer. And what skills are needed to start learning full stack specifically. Um, I guess the only thing I'll say is to enjoy problem solving, because when it comes
Mm.
down to it, that's what coding is. It's problem solving, man. Um, you just kind of like you're looking at things and you're figuring out how to do it. But it is also like learning a language. So, that's another thing as well. But like I said, yeah, the first thing you want to do when looking to start, learning full stack or anything, start playing with some HTML and CSS and start playing with a little bit of Python. And that's going to help you hit the ground running when you come on board for a course with us.
Yeah, no stress at all. Just a question
Cool.
here from Ross now Dallas. Just one question. Is the course for web developers free or not? I do programming in C++ and Python. I wish to get basic knowledge for writing my own website, essentially.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um, our,
Do I need to
no, our
repeat
course
it?
is not free. Sorry. There's just a lot in that. Let me just unpack it. Yeah, first of all, our courses are not free. Okay. Our boot camp and our part-time diploma of web development are just over $22,000. Okay. I'm not going to go through the payment options again. But and then we also have some vocational diplomas available, which are $5,000 each. One focuses more on cybersecurity. One focuses more on AI or artificial intelligence. And
Mm,
those ones are a little bit more theory based, bit more of a sort of a taster to see whether it's something that you really want to go into to further study with. So those are the options we have available, and they all do cost money. We don't have any free courses. And so you do programming in C++ and Python, and you wish to get a basic knowledge for writing your own website. Yeah. So I guess if you play with C++ and you play with Python, then nothing is really stopping you from moving on to learning a bit of JavaScript. Okay.
mm,
And then you'll probably have to learn React. So you need to learn a framework to go along with it. And then once you know those things, I'm sure you'd be able to pick up the rest. Maybe, get a bit of a taste in like, SQL databases. But ultimately, yeah, look, if you can, go out and try to learn all this sort of stuff on your own. It's going to take you like 10 times longer, but it's definitely doable. But yeah, like ultimately, in answer to that question, our courses cost money. They're not free. And yeah, you'll definitely be able to build a website. You'll be able to build a website and so much more if you do come on board for a boot camp or a part-time diploma with us.
mm. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's all the questions that we've had so far. So again, guys, just before we let you guys go, do you guys have any questions at all while you have us on the line? Because as we all know, honestly speaking, talking over email is a bit of a bugger. So while you have us here, please feel free to flick through questions. That way we can answer it and give you some of that immediate answers that you may be looking for. So I'll probably give
That's
you
it.
guys probably a minute or two just to give any final questions by any chance.
No problemo. But yeah, leave no stone unturned. Definitely get those questions in. But yeah, look, there's my number and there's my email. Feel free to reach out if there are any questions that you feel like you absolutely can't ask here. You can also reach out to me there, and I'll get back to you.
Exactly that.
But yeah, David, for the 10-month course, how far in is the census state? I knew you'd ask me this question, David. I can't remember. I believe it's 10%. Okay, it's 10% in. So if it's a 10-month course, then it's about a month in. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I guess that's going to be approximately right. I can't remember the exact date. There is. Oh no, that's a vocational calendar that got thrown in earlier. Yeah, so it's I think it's about a month in. You got about a month census date, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, before you basically, I guess, have to commit.
Yeah. And Dallas, is there a cutoff date for our next intake for our
So
10 month boot camp?
So our cutoffs, we kind of it's a bit of a strange one. Basically, you can apply for the course up until about a week before the course starts. I definitely recommend to get an application in at least 3 weeks before. That way, we can roll through the application process and the enrollment process. If we hit any snags, we got a bit of time to sort of, resolve things. Like if, you need to provide some sort of documentation for something that we need, or maybe there's some issues with payment. Also, things like, for example, if you decided to pay out of pocket, or even with the Easy Debit payment plan, those things are direct debit, and it takes time for funds to clear from one bank account to another. Okay, so these things need to be taken into consideration. So what I'm saying is, I recommend you apply 2 to 3 weeks from the start date, and don't apply 24 hours before the course starts. Okay, because you're not going to get
Hmm.
there for day one. You need to have enrollment completed in full before we can give you access to classes and content. So if you
Hmm.
apply last minute, you will miss 1 or 2 days
Hmm.
of the beginning of the course. So make sure that you apply and complete enrollment in a timely fashion.
100%. I think for the most part, like 3 weeks is, as you said, is probably the best amount of time because there will always be bumps. I have not had a swim enrollment in a hot minute, but like I said, that's the idea though. We're here to help you guys every step of the way. So any questions, please reach out to us. But yeah, like I said, this will probably bring us to the end of our webinar today. So guys, so if you have any feedback at all, feel free to email us or just send it in the chat right now. Can we just give a round of applause to Dallas over here for being an absolute legend and just absolutely destroying it throughout this entire presentation, guys? So just give him a little clap or maybe a little thumbs up
Stop it.
emoji.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's one clap. Hell, that's two claps. That's three claps. You're going crazy today, Dallas. Absolutely shout. Oh, there's a fourth one. There's a fifth one as well. Oh, God. We are absolutely going crazy tonight. But yeah, for one final question here from Miko. For the 2-year full stack, can we apply now?
100%. Definitely apply now because that course starts really soon, on the 20th of January. And the date is, what's the
The
date?
16th.
The date is the 16th of January. So that course starts on Monday. So 100% go ahead and get an application in as soon as possible if you do want to join us. Applications are still open, and we'll get those processed and get that sorted as soon as possible.
Yeah, sounds
Cool.
awesome. But yeah, other than that, though, thank you very much, guys, for putting some time out of your night to come to this webinar. And hopefully, we'll see you guys in the next one. But other than that, though, again, our details are on the screen that you can see right now. Feel free to just have a quick jot down. If you have any other questions that you may be a little too afraid to ask in an open space, feel free to reach out to either one of us. Always more than happy to help you guys out every step of the way. Other than that, though, peace out, guys.
Cheers.
I'll
Bye.
see ya.